Hey everyone, Dan here. We are just after market close on Monday, May 10th. We're going to do the thing that we've been doing on Mondays, which is take a look at Palantir today. And a couple of housekeeping notes before we get going. If you're continuing to enjoy me covering Palantir every Monday, please let me know in the comments below or like the video or share the video. I'm kind of gauging the 2 days that I have fixed videos right now are Monday and Friday. Mondays for Palantir and Fridays for AMC. And I'm just kind of gauging, the interest level for those sort of standard videos by how many people watch them, how many people engage with them. So as interest seems to be dying down, I'll kind of cycle those out and just cover those tickers like I do any other stocks, which is just sort of like when it seems prescient to take a look at them. But while folks are still interested in it, let me know and I'll keep covering it every Monday or every Friday for AMC. Also, I know that with the choppiness in the market and the crushing blows that growth stocks and tech stocks have been taking, I know a lot of folks are hurting, a lot of folks are frustrated or confused. Right about this point in the video, I will link at the very top of the screen an analysis that I did a few months ago on tickers that you can buy when the stock market is going down, that those tickers go up when the market goes down. So it gives you a way to sort of like hedge against some of these red days or even make some of them profitable if you can play them correctly. And that video talks about how to do that. And they aren't super advanced strategies. We're not talking about shorting the market. We're not talking about playing complex options strategies of any kind. These are just stocks that you can buy like you'd buy any other stock. And they just happen to go up when like its counterpart in the market is going down. Watch the video if you sort of fall into this category, and it'll make sense, hopefully, if you have a look at it. I'll also put it in the description below in case you miss it at the link on the top of the screen. All right, so for Palantir today, we've been sort of looking at Palantir in 2 time frames. We've been looking at the 3-month, 2-hour time frame, and then the 5-minute, 5-day time frame. We're still going to look at the 5-minute, 5-day in the second half of the video in case folks are still day trading it or doing short-term swing trades with Palantir. But I thought that there was value today in looking at the 1-year daily chart to get a broader context of where we are in the life cycle of Palantir and what we might be able to look for in the days and weeks ahead, and months ahead. If you are looking at taking like investment strategies or very long, I guess very long swing trade doesn't make sense, but longer term trades of any kind, this might help. Or like I said, just to get sort of a better 40,000 foot view of where we are, because I know a lot of folks are feeling like the times are challenging. So right now, we're sitting at this 1847. You can see this sort of like really good bed of support right around this 2114. So let's throw in, a horizontal line there. And since the price is underneath it right now, that will be like a resistance level as Palantir attempts to come back up. But this was a really strong inflection point when it made its first big push up and then it retested it. So that was the level for it to retest. And then you see it even on its way down, it held it for a very, very long time and still until recently it broke through and now is on a path of greater destruction. So I would say our first area of really good support there is that 1783 level. And then you're probably looking at 1602. I don't know if it'll come down this far, but I mean, I had my stop loss set at 20, and so obviously I got stopped out. So at this point, I'm just looking for a bunch of like bounce zones below, and I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens with it in order to sort of like get in at a good reentry point. Because I do think long term, Palantir, in my opinion, has all the aspects of a longer term winner. But obviously it's caught in this horrible downturning cyclone at the moment. But these are the areas that I'll look for it to find some like floor support at, and sort of like when it does look like it's going to make a turnaround, it might be a good opportunity to take an entry. So let's say like 1602 starts to look like that. I might start a small position at 1602 if it starts to hold that as a floor and show some price strength. And then I might just set my like stop loss at, like 1450 or something in between that, like 1602 and 1396, if I want to like do sort of these like no nonsense kind of plays, just meaning that, Palantir has proven that it can drop much further than anyone had anticipated. And so the likelihood that I'm going to start a position and then average down indefinitely is nil, at least for myself. I'm planning on taking this sort of more no nonsense approach of keeping tight stop losses on it and just saying like I'll jump back in when it starts to look like it makes sense. On the upside, obviously we have that 2114 as the first area that I look for. There's a little bit of an area here too, but I mean that's right on top of where it is at the moment, so I'm not going to worry about that one. And then there's a bunch of like stickiness right around here. 2357. Remember the days, the good old days when it was getting stuck at like 24, 28 or whatever it was, when we thought like, when's this thing going to go back to 30? Man, feels like a long time ago. Yep, this is going to be a zone. So these are the like upper price targets that I would look for. There's not a lot of gaps in the chart. This might really kind of be like the only two gaps that I see. So I don't know if Palantir is going to be prone to filling gaps yet. It hasn't been prone to creating gaps. So that's a key component to becoming a gap filling stock. But that's what I would kind of be looking for. I mean, there's not even sort of like an uptrend that we can hold, because all that we would be doing would be drawing an uptrending line from like these price zones way back here and then touching it to the bottom of this one, but we don't know if this is even going to hold as like the floor at this moment. So there's not really any way to kind of indicate where this thing might start a trend reversal, at least not from the chart itself. Maybe the indicators will give us a better idea. So we'll flip over to those. So we'll do that now. So sort of pause this here if you want to jot down any of these like potential zones for price floors, or any potential upper targets. I mean, this is so many red days in a row. I don't know if anyone's looking at upper targets at this point, but I would say looking for price zones where it might establish a floor is probably worthwhile if you are really intent on playing Palantir. All right, let us flip on the MAs. So we are, yeah, I mean, this is like an interesting one because, we are like obviously in a bearish turn here. Things are bunching up a little bit, so I mean that's fine, but also at this point the price itself is so far underneath the MAs that is also not a good sign. Same thing when the price gets very far from like the VWAP. I know that's not what we're talking about right now, but and on this time frame, it's not going to give us much anyway. So, but yeah, when the price is so far from the MAs and so far underneath, it just has that they're just not going to provide any like help for the time being, meaning they're not going to help give it a support level to build off of. So right now it's just sort of like adding to the pressure that's keeping the stock price down and the selling pressure high is, that the MAs are so far above the current price zones. The RSI is like through the oversold area, which you could imagine. Maybe this will start to be an area for a turnaround, because for all of this selling off that happened, it actually never dipped below 30 before somehow, which seems incredible. I mean, I guess that's probably partly due to the fact that it spent all of this time. It spent, like from the daily perspective, from October 21st, 2020, all the way through like the beginning of December. It's like 6 weeks of like being overbought. Yeah, and even before then. But I mean, also that was when, the stock IPO'd. So we saw this with I can't remember the ticker, but one that we covered a while back where, it comes in with the RSI so high, and so it's kind of unreliable at the beginning. So the RSI might still kind of be getting its bearings, but I do think it's notable that it's just now dipping into oversold territory for like Palantir's entire life. So there might be something there that gives a glimmer of hope. Though here there's a bearish crossover with the MACD line crossing below the signal line and throwing down, an increasingly bearish histogram at the moment. From this histogram to this one, the bearish pressure is increasing, so more momentum for the bears on this one. So I mean, this is just a a pretty tragic story. As you can see, when we got pushed up here to this high, actually the MACD line didn't even get nearly as close as when it accomplished this first original push here to get itself into the high 20s. So that should have been sort of like a first sign of something is amiss here. But yeah, I mean, there's no current like bullish divergence or anything to give hope on the MACD side. On the volume side, if we sort of like lop off a bunch of the heads, sort of like the mid-level here, I mean, there's just sort of like some great buying volume, many, many months ago. But I mean, if you look at the number of red bars from late February through today, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 green volume bars from February 24th to today. So, I don't know what to tell you if you're wanting to be like super bullish on Palantir right now, which I don't know that anyone is, but I honestly think if there's any sort of like small hope, it lies in the RSI reaching oversold for the very first time in Palantir's lifespan as it pertains to the daily chart. So that's where we are in the broader context of things. Let's flip to the 5-day, 5-minute chart. In case folks are trading shorter time frames, short-term swing trades, day trades, that sort of thing. What I would say you want to be looking for is, if I would say that this 1819 is a strong cautionary zone. Be careful for more slippage. If it can't bounce there, if it does test it again, which it looks like it's probably going to, its first support level that I would look for it to establish would be right about here at 1850. If it can get some support there, then it can slowly start to creep its way up and tick off. I mean, it's just going to have such an area to like get through in order to get any kind of bullish momentum going. This is going to be a big zone. I don't know what we put big zones in, but purple, because I don't know what else to make it. But that's going to be a big one. And then this one. So I'd say there's actually like a big box here of like, these are like a couple of big zones. This 20-cent area, like to see what it does if and when it gets to there again would be highly intriguing. And that's not that far away as like a dollar value. It's a sizable percentage change. In the broad scheme of things, it's more sizable that it would turn bullish than bearish. So more so that than anything. But there's no discernible channel here. Clearly, it's like trying to catch itself and flatten out after this like immediate sell-off at open today. But yeah, it's in a pretty wicked situation all around. Let's turn to the indicators and see if there's anything there that speaks to us. The MAs, the 180 is like rushing in, and these are all sort of like bunching up a bit that they could, like every single one of these, the 12, the 20, the 50, could offer support if Palantir could just start to push upward a little bit and establish on top of them. And then if the 180 came in and could situate itself underneath the price action and give it some additional support, then there might be something to be had. But it still is pretty far away with that 180 MA sitting at 1909 and Palantir being in the low 18s at this point. On the shorter term RSI, still like going into oversold territory. It's amazing that through all of this like deep crushing of the price, that it still has found itself in overbought territory. I mean, this is just really bad signs. And I mean, granted, like most of that has happened in the after hours and in the pre-market, but still, I mean, it's almost unfathomable that any of this price activity recently, while the price is just falling again from 22 down to 18, and still is finding periods of time to be considered overbought. It's really something to behold. I mean, the sell-off today was obviously a huge uptick for the bearish momentum. And while it has died down from the standpoint of like that catastrophic of a dip, it is picking up again. So you see these dips here. This dip that it's engaged with right now is lower. It might be flattening out. It might be ready to do a bullish crossover again, but we'll have to see if it can actually, take any sort of momentum away from the bears, who clearly have it. I mean, you look at all these deep dips versus these pretty mediocre, relatively speaking, pushes to the upside. And the volume, I mean, this is huge selling pressure here toward open. Pretty dead day on Friday. Thursday, even compared to today, was, so-so. I mean, this was a nothing day. A lot of lower volume days. And, but yeah, a lot of selling pressure here. A lot of very low volume buys coming in during the midday, but nothing that's gonna sort of like make any significant change for Palantir's near-term outlook, so it seems. So sorry I don't have any sort of good news for anyone, but that's not really my purpose. Just trying to tell you what the chart says, and hopefully you can make some informed decisions based on that information. So, I mean, good luck if you're in this one. Good luck if you're looking for a re-entry point or an entry point of any sort. That daily chart that we pointed to, which might show some potential levels of floors, might sort of be the best information that you could get out of this video. But I'll leave that up to you. And as always, like, mix this information with a bunch of your own due diligence and glean from it what you can. But I wish everyone a good luck this week trading. Also do what you can to try to figure out how to turn some of this choppiness and some of this bearish selling pressure into green days, or at least trying to ward off some big losses that you might be incurring at the moment. There's always turnarounds coming. So even when we were all flying high in January, you should have been thinking, okay, a turnaround is coming, and it has come. All right, well, I will leave it at that. Tomorrow I'll be back with a new stock, and I don't know what it is yet, so I can't tell you what it is, but we'll all figure it out together in tomorrow's video. All right, well, have a good one, and I will see you in the next video.